Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Monday, the 6th of March. Good to have you aboard. We, of course, are a Blue Wire podcast, and as always, presented by Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys. 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. If you've been involved in an accident, if you're dealing with an injury, you call 911 first, then you get an attorney on the phone immediately when you call Anidjar and Levine. Glenn Levine, Mark Anidjar, Ellie Anidjar. I trust those guys. They've been behind me since day number one. So if you got an issue, I'm sending you right to them. They're going to take care of you. Best in the business. 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. Got a great show planned today. We got a lot going on here. First, got to tell you a little bit about my weekend. First things first, though, great sports weekend, all right? Didn't get off to the best start where Friday night, of course, you had the Heat lose a heartbreaker to the Knicks. Those damn Knicks. A heartbreaker on Friday night, the Heat lose right before the buzzer. But how about Saturday? 4-0 on Saturday. Canes clinched the ACC regular season championship with a thrilling victory against Pittsburgh. The crowd rushed the court after the game. What a moment. Canes win. The Panthers beat the Penguins in a must-win game on Saturday night. The Heat beat the Hawks on Saturday night. Good bounce back. Inter Miami wins 2-0 against Philadelphia. They're now 2-0. 4-0 on Saturday. What a day. Saturday, one of the best sports days of your life. What a day. That's how the weekend got going right there. So obviously, had to start off celebrating that. But of course, I had a really good weekend as well. Couple things to hit on first before we get to the really important stuff. Number one, had a lot of momentum for me heading into the weekend because of my appearance on the Levine show on Thursday morning. I really appreciate all the nice words. Everyone was so kind. Everyone seemed to really enjoy that, so that was really cool. So I had a good momentum. I was feeling really good about myself heading into the weekend. And then, I told you guys, I announced this on Friday, right? That I was going to be hosting. I was going to be sitting in the big chair of the best wrestling show in the world. Now, you guys know, I do It's Still Real to Me. That's under ZASLOW Show 2.0. That's my wrestling podcast. New episode coming out tonight. We're going to react to AEW Revolution from yesterday, me and my pal Joey Levin. So that's coming at you tonight. We're going to react to the big pay-per-view last night, All Elite Wrestling. But I told you guys on Friday, the biggest pro wrestling show there is in the world is SiriusXM's Busted Open. And I got to host Busted Open on Saturday morning with the legendary, with the innovator of violence, Tommy Dreamer, ECW hardcore legend. So I hosted Busted Open on Saturday morning. An amazing honor to be able to sit in the chair that the great Dave LaGreca, of course, sits in Monday through Friday. And I was super nervous about it. I told you guys, like, it's one thing to do my own pro wrestling podcast, my own pro wrestling show. This is a national show, and this is the big boys. This is the premier pro wrestling show, Busted Open. There's none better. I've been a listener every day for years now, and for those guys to give me the opportunity to sit in with them, I was super nervous because this is for real. And I got to be honest, I'm thrilled with the way it went. I think it went fantastic. I was very, very... Now, the nerves are good. I was super nervous, but the nerves are good because the nerves mean it's important to you, and also means you're going to be focused and you're going to be, like, really ready to roll. And I was. And Tommy Dreamer made it super easy. The producers made it super easy. The nation calling in, the callers, everybody seemed pleased. We took callers several times throughout the 3-hour show. That's another thing right there. I haven't hosted a 3-hour show. Now, granted, there's commercials. I haven't hosted a 3-hour show 6 months since I was doing a 4-hour show. So I was a little bit nervous about that. Also, mechanically, when I'm doing this, I'm doing ZASLOW Show 2.0. As far as my mechanics go, my radio mechanics, I can do whatever I want. This is me. This is you listening to me. This ZASLOW Show 2.0, I can do whatever I want. But as far as radio goes, there are certain mechanics that I figured I'm probably going to be a little bit rusty. I think I was just fine in that regard. It's like riding a bike. You get right back on it. And how about this? First time ever. I've been doing radio almost 20 years now. Although I'm not doing radio anymore. This is podcasting. It's digital. But you understand what I'm saying. And in 20 years, Saturday morning was the first time I had ever done a show on a station that was not local Miami. That's crazy, right? First time ever. So that was a really cool experience for me. First time I was ever not doing ZASLOW. I mean, yes, I hosted on The Heat, broadcasted for The Heat for 13 years. So that's not my show. That's their show. And I'm hosting that, like I'm driving that pregame, halftime, postgame. But so it's kind of similar to that, but that's not my show. So I got to fit in. I don't want to fit out. I got to fit in. And I was really, really pleased with how it went. I was super thrilled. I had a really good time. I hope there are more opportunities. I would love to do it again. So we'll see where that goes. I don't know. But even if it was just the one time, I'm very, very happy. It was a great day for me. Really, really fun opportunity. I'm so pleased. And again, all the really nice messages that a lot of folks, maybe there's some new listeners here to ZASLOW Show 2.0. I appreciate you subscribing based on my appearance on Busted Open and based on my appearance on the Levitard Show. I think we probably got some new subscribers, new listeners to ZASLOW Show 2.0, and I love that. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like, you rate, you comment. You do all that good stuff. That's good for the algorithm. I don't know how the algorithm works, but I know it helps make me the monies. So tell all your friends, tell your family, and I'm super appreciative to have the continued listeners and to have the new listeners. So this weekend, last few days, real good momentum for ZASLOW Show 2.0. We got a new sponsor. I told you about that over the weekend. I was at Broward Meat and Fish. We'll get to that coming up. That was their grand opening in Margate on Saturday. Gave a couple pairs of Heat tickets away, courtesy of Johnny Cuba, of course. So like I said, we'll get to that coming up in a little bit. And we got another couple sponsors who are going to be joining the show real soon. So things are growing, all right? And it's all because of you guys. It's because of my current sponsors who have been with me and continue to stay with me. And it's, of course, because of the listeners to ZASLOW Show 2.0. So I had a really fun weekend between Saturday, where our teams went 4-0, between hosting Busted Open on Saturday morning. Friday night, my son, Corey, Weston Select U14, remain undefeated in league play. 1-1 tie, a little disappointed they couldn't get that win. 1-1 tie against Juventus on Friday night. The only goal my son gave up was a penalty kick, late in the third quarter. Those PKs are impossible, so hard to stop. So my son allowed a penalty kick. It was the only goal he gave up. Otherwise, made a handful of other saves, including a great save on a free kick. I put that video out there on social media, of course, where I'm an influencer. So pleased about that. And yesterday, my younger son, Jordan, who plays basketball at the JCC, a little rec league. And I'm assistant coach there. And our head coach, if I could tell you, what a play he drew up in the final seconds there. You'd think I'm sitting there next to Eric Spoelstra, where final seconds of the game, and my son's in the game, final seconds of the game, we're ahead by 1. There's about 5 seconds remaining. We're inbounding it in the backcourt. Again, ahead by 1, side out in the backcourt. Line them up. Everyone stays still except for one kid who bolts into the front court. And I told him at the timeout, it's going to be a 50-50 ball. Win it. Just come down with it. Come down with the ball. Draws up the play. You got the one kid who bolts. Everyone else stays still. The entire defense froze. He was all by himself to catch the pass. He laid it in. Probably should have dribbled out the clock. That's okay. We're talking kids here. He laid it in. Go ahead by 3. End up winning the game. Time runs out. Boom. There you have it. So, I'm telling you, it's like I'm working next to Eric Spoelstra there. Excellent play call in the final couple seconds there. Drawing it up on the board. The kids all followed directions to perfection. So we got a nice little team there playing on Sundays at the JCC. I had a very good weekend. So there you have it. And finally, if I could also add real quick, took my family, packed them into the car. Actually, it was just me and my 2 sons, and my older son brought his friend. But nonetheless, packed my kids into the car yesterday afternoon. We're going to go see a nice family-friendly film called Cocaine Bear. Of course, a nice family-friendly film. I left out my younger son. Once the movie got going, he's 11. He turns to me and goes, "You got to explain some things to me. I'm not following." So I had to explain, that guy's the drug dealer, and he's making those guys go into the bushes, go into the forest, and recover all the cocaine. There's lots of cocaine there. So I had to explain a little bit to my younger son. He wasn't following the story, the very complicated story of Cocaine Bear. You know, he's not well versed in the drug game. So I had to explain it a little bit to him. That movie's fun, though. That movie was silly as hell. That movie's a lot of fun. There's no way you come out of Cocaine Bear like, I didn't enjoy that movie. That movie sucks. No, the movie's stupid and silly and fun. You come out of that movie like, that's a nice thing to do on a Sunday afternoon. So that's what we did yesterday. We had a good time, of course. Like most families, I take my boys to go see Cocaine Bear. There you have it. So that was my weekend. We're going to talk to Raja Bell today, our friend and former NBA player, longtime veteran. He's going to join us coming up because I want to talk about the Ja Morant stuff with him. That's the biggest story in the NBA right now. A disaster that the Grizzlies are dealing with this Ja Morant. We'll get to that coming up. First, though, I want to talk about the Heat. So the Heat are back in action tonight. They have Atlanta. That's right. Second straight game they're taking on the Hawks. After tonight, they got 2 more games on this homestand. It'll be 2 straight games against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Quirky schedule here, but I like it. So the Heat will look to take both these games against the Hawks, which is important because the Heat right now, they're kind of entrenched in 7th, the Heat. They're 3 games back. They're 3 losses back of Brooklyn at number 6. So now as much as you want to focus on jumping up to number 6, you really got to focus on holding off number 8. Because if you're going to be in a play-in, if you're number 7 or 8, you only have to win 1 game. You get 2 chances to win 1. But if you're the 7th seed, you get 2 chances to win 1, and both games are on your home floor. So you want to stay in that 7th spot. Right now, the Heat are a game up in the loss column on Atlanta. You can get yourself some breathing room if you win this game here tonight and you go 2 up on the Hawks. So that's what we're looking at right now. But you go back a couple nights ago, and the Heat, they're reeling off of a tough loss against the Knicks. So the Heat win that game Saturday against the Hawks, but let's go back to the night before. So the Heat, they lost the first game of the homestand, real disappointing against Philadelphia. Now you got the Knicks, and this was a fantastic game. A raucous crowd, lots of Knicks fans in the building. I watched the game late because my son had a game on Friday night, and then when I got home Friday night, I had to watch wrestling first because I'm hosting Busted Open on Saturday morning. So I watched SmackDown, I watched Rampage, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns. Anyway, and then I put on the Heat game. So I'm watching the Heat game late on Friday night. Not that late, but I'm watching the Heat game late on Friday night. And I'm into it. I'm watching with my younger son, and we're watching the finish. I watched the whole game, but we're watching the finish. The Heat are down like 10 points the whole game. And they're chipping away the whole time. Really fun game. Tyler Hero's having a huge game. And then with about 30 seconds remaining, with the Heat down by 1, they get a big steal.
118. Brunson lost the ball. Hero stole it. 26 seconds left in the game. Hero drives it. Hero scores.
Okay, so Knicks, no timeouts. The Heat go ahead by 1. Tyler, again, was fantastic. And he was fantastic down the stretch in this game. So the Heat now are ahead by 1. No timeouts for New York. And the Heat are D'ing up Julius Randle, who, by the way, at this point in the game has 40. He can't miss. Julius Randle, he's bobbling the ball. Jimmy Butler switches onto Julius Randle and is about to force an incredibly difficult shot with no time remaining.
Randle on the drive, stripped by Butler. Randle gets it back. Randle puts up a 3. Bang! Bang! Randle knocks down the 3 with 7/10 of a second remaining.
Oh, I was so bummed. And here's the thing. Such a difference between, and look, this is all of us when we grow up, right? If the Heat lose that game that way to the Knicks when I'm younger, I'm taking the remote control and I'm throwing it through the television. And then I'm picking up the television and I'm smashing it on the ground. I was a maniac when I was younger. And if the Heat are going to lose games like that, and to the Knicks, if the Heat are going to lose like that, I'm smashing my TV. I told you, that's why when I was younger, I used to watch the games. I used to have to put the portable house phone and the remote control on the other side of the room, so when something bad happens, I don't grab them and chuck them at the television. I used to have to move the objects to the other side of the room. And Friday night is just, and I got my hands on my head and I was so bummed. But it had me thinking, wow, you've really matured, player. Because you would have smashed a hole in that television not that long ago. So your boy's all grown up. That's the moral of the story, right? Your boy's all grown up. And here's the thing. Julius Randle, obviously it's an insanely difficult shot. He's really good at that shot. That number one fadeaway, but that kind of fading three-pointer, he's really good at that shot. He did it again to beat, I think, the third quarter buzzer last night at the Celtics. And we'll get to that coming up. We got our NBA rundown coming up, brought to us every Monday. Our NBA weekend rundown brought to us by Brunt Insurance, bruntinsurance.com. Make sure you get your home covered. You don't want to get caught in a jam. We'll get to that coming up. But Julius Randle's really good, actually, at that shot. Such a great game. Such a tough finish. And then the Heat don't even get a final shot off Kevin Love. His pass is intercepted, inbounding in the front court. Tried to get it to Jimmy. It gets stolen away. And that sucks. That's the worst part. Is not even getting the shot off. Well, the Heat come back on Saturday. They really dominate the Hawks. They were ahead by 21. I think at one point the closest the Hawks got was 5. The Heat had to hit a couple solid shots there in the fourth quarter to keep the Hawks at bay. Trae Young was terrible. I almost feel like Trae Young was checked out. Something's going on with Trae Young and the Hawks. You got new coach Quinn Snyder, but lots of rumors there about whether, the teammates may hate Trae Young, and he's kind of a coach killer. So I guess we get a better look tonight, although here's the thing. You love these back-to-back games here in Miami, where the Hawks have been here since, they got here Friday night. So the Hawks have spent Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They spent 3 nights here in Miami, downtown Miami. Tonight could be a South Beach flu game for the Hawks. And the Heat need some breathing room. So I think you're going to get another big performance by the Heat tonight. The Heat play the Hawks really well. The Heat play Trae Young really well. I'm interested to see how Trae Young plays tonight. I think that's important. So just a crushing loss on Friday night. Good bounce back by the Heat on Saturday night. The Panthers, great win Saturday. Must-win game against the Penguins. Kicked their ass. Won 4-1 that game. They were just dominated the entire game against the Penguins. That was a must-have game. The Panthers go into tonight's action, and the Panthers don't play again until tomorrow. They're hosting Vegas. But the Panthers go into tonight's action. They're 3 points back of the second wildcard spot, right now held by Pittsburgh. 4 points back of the first wildcard spot, held by New York. And the Panthers have a game in hand on the Islanders. All right? Plus, you got Buffalo, Ottawa, and Washington all tied at 68 points with the Panthers. So, like I told you, it's really 7 teams. Then you got Detroit, who's 3 back of the Panthers. So it's 7 teams fighting for 2 spots. Let's see if any of those teams are in action tonight that we can keep an eye on. Yes, Buffalo is hosting Edmonton, so we need a Buffalo loss there. Ottawa's at Chicago. We need an Ottawa loss. Washington is at the LA Kings. We need a Washington loss. So while the Panthers are not playing tonight, there's a lot of action going on in the National Hockey League this evening that pertains to what the Panthers are doing. They're back in action tomorrow night. They're hosting the Vegas Knights. Inter Miami, they also won on Saturday. A 2-0 win. Excellent start to the season. First time in 4 years in franchise history. Inter Miami, 2-0 to get going. You love to see it. They're home again in 2 weeks. But, of course, this Saturday night, they play their third game. It'll be their first road game of the season. Very excited. Didn't go Saturday night. Very excited, though, for Inter Miami's start to the season. You know I'm an inaugural season ticket holder, right? You guys know that, right? All right, anyway. So, we're going to talk to Raja Bell coming up, former NBA player. And I want to get his thoughts on what's going on with Ja Morant. So, if you're not aware of what's going on with Ja Morant, here's what happens. So, my son tells me on Sunday morning, my 14-year-old, and he says, hey, you see what's going on with Ja? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I know that, there's a lot of controversy going on where his crew was accused in, threatening the travel party of the Indiana Pacers with guns, and there was a laser pointer, possible gun there. The NBA investigated. They could not find anything to, substantiate the claims. But look, the security officers there in Indiana, like, those guys are, the heads of security. Those are like former FBI guys. Like, they know what's what. And they were claiming, it was a gun. So you got that situation. You got a situation where it was a Washington Post, I believe, was a story last week that talks about a police report that was filed however long ago, a few months ago, where Ja Morant apparently punched a 17-year-old 12 times outside his home. There was a basketball game going on, and then was brandishing a gun as well. Ja was claiming it was self-defense. Ja admits to punching the 17-year-old, but he was claiming it was self-defense. So we're beating up 17-year-olds and flashing guns there as well. And then my son told me, amidst all of this controversy that's surrounding Ja right now, that he was on Instagram very early Sunday morning at the club flashing a gun. And I'm like, no. Indefensible. Obviously. Completely indefensible. And now you get Ja Morant, who was initially sent away for a couple games to, reevaluate things and focus on his mental health, focus on his stress level and his mental health. Like, we'll get to that part in a second. But now you had Taylor Jenkins, the coach of the Grizzlies. Now it's been changed to he's going to be away from the team indefinitely. I think Ja Morant could be in some real trouble here. Because if Ja Morant is traveling on the team plane, and we'll talk to Raja about this kind of stuff. If Ja Morant was traveling on the team plane with a gun, there are bylaws with the NBA, with the CBA. If that is found to be the case, and maybe this is why now they've changed it and Taylor Jenkins changed, he's going to be away indefinitely. Ja Morant is in very, very big trouble. Very, very big trouble if that's the case. And we'll see what the NBA, we'll see when the NBA finally decides to come out and talk. Because listen, I haven't heard anything from the NBA. Has the softest commissioner in professional sports, Adam Silver, come out and said anything yet? You have to imagine it's coming. I mean, I would suppose they're gathering all the information before they come out here. But this is a league, all right, that is all over social issues, right? And good. That's a good thing. The league is all over social issues. And one of their biggest stars in the league, one of their biggest young stars in the league, Ja Morant, very high-profile player, has now been involved. Some of them allegedly, some of them confirmed, has been involved in several incidents in a row now involving guns. In a country where guns are a major issue, in a country where kids are being shot in schools, guns. Ja Morant, involved in all these controversies right now, decides, you know what's a good idea this morning? I'm going to go live on Instagram with a gun. It's an incredible amount of stupidity. I can't even fathom it. So where is the softest commissioner in sports? The players commissioner. The commissioner of the sports, the commissioner of the league, where player empowerment is the first order. Where is the softest commissioner in sports when we're dealing with social issues all the time in that league, rightfully so, and now you have one of their biggest stars on Instagram, again, with a gun. Where is the softest commissioner in sports? Or do the players really run everything when it comes to the NBA? Now, like I said, I'm sure they're gathering the information. But the NBA is going to have to come down very hard on Ja Morant. Better do something. Better do something big. We'll talk to John Moran. That'd be amazing. We'll talk to Raja about this. I want to get a former player's perspective, you know? But here's also the thing, like, you got lots of people, obviously, that are angry at Ja, pointing the finger at Ja. But you have a lot of people like, yeah, I hope he gets the help. I hope he gets help. He's got to focus on, his stress and his mental, situation right now. This has nothing. See, the part that bothers me is here, there are real people in this country who are struggling with mental health issues. This isn't necessarily I don't want to say it's definitely not, but this is an issue of someone acting stupid. This is not, I'm stressed out, let me go make an Instagram with my gun. It really is insulting to those who have actual mental health issues. This is an issue of a kid being stupid. And you know how I stand on this. You know where I stand on this kind of stuff. If I'm the Grizzlies, I move on from John Morant. I'm not saying you cut him. That's stupid. I would trade him. You get a lot for him. Now, maybe not today you get a lot for him, but you get a lot for John Morant. I move on. This isn't just about athletics. So it's just about sports. This is about any business. I can't employ this level of stupid. He has shown an incredible level of stupidity to be involved in these kind of controversies, and now this is what you do. You go on Instagram Live with a gun. I can't trust this person. I can't trust this person to be the face of my franchise, let alone I can't trust this person to be under my employ. I got to move on from this person. I got to get different employees. I got to get different guys under me. I move on from John Morant. I can't employ this level of stupid. And yeah, 23 years old, he's a kid, he's young, he's going to do dumb things. No, stop it. Stop it. At 23 years old, you're not 10. You're not 11. You're not 8. You're not 9 years old. You're 23 years old. That's a man. I remember what being 23 was. I did stupid stuff. I totally did stupid stuff. I didn't decide, you know what I'm going to do this morning? I'm going to go on Instagram. Yes, there was no Instagram back then. I wouldn't have decided I'm going to go on Instagram and I'm going to flash a gun. And Shannon Sharp said it, where like, John Morant's working backwards. Now, I don't know what it's like to grow up in a tough situation. And I don't think this was John Morant's situation, by the way. I think he comes from a good family, went to private school, all of that, which makes it even weirder. But I don't know what it's like to grow up in a tough spot. And then you hear all these stories. Grew up in a really difficult situation, and he got out. And now look at him. Now he's in the NBA. Amazing. John Morant's working backwards. He's got the amazing situation, and he wants to throw it away. And it doesn't even seem that he was that kind of kid or from that type of living situation. So yeah, if I was 23 years old and everyone was watching me and I was a big star, I'd be doing, and I'm about to get hundreds of millions of dollars, and I'm the new face of Nike, I'm doing everything in my power to make sure I'm always on best behavior. Because I'm not a child. I'm 23. I'm a grown-up. And if he's making these kind of decisions, I can't employ this kind of stupid. I gotta move on. I gotta move on from this kind of stupid. You don't cut him, but I would absolutely get rid of him in the offseason. You get a lot for him. You gotta cut bait. You gotta move on. You don't know what's next. But I do find it offensive where he's got to find a way to deal with the stress and the mental health, and he's going to step away and focus on himself for a little while. This isn't a mental health situation. This is an incredibly stupid decisions situation. And it's insulting for people who do actually deal with these type of health situations. This is a person behaving stupid. That's what this is. And it's I'm not sympathetic to Ja. Not at all. Don't be stupid. He's being stupid. It's like, you don't need to get help. to make sure you don't flash guns and threaten people. And in this country, with everything we have going on, with the guns, with the bullshit, I don't have the patience for it. I just don't. I don't have the patience. And I'll tell you what else, and this won't be answered, but I'll tell you what else. You know, LeBron a few nights ago, and I saw this too, saw the video of the problem with Jon Stewart, and Jon Stewart, it went viral, and Jon Stewart is sitting down with a senator, a Republican senator, and they're talking about the gun laws being loosened, and Jon Stewart just eviscerates this guy. It's a pretty amazing sit down. And LeBron retweeted it because it's amazing. And obviously LeBron is all for, I mean, I imagine that's why I retweeted it, is for gun restrictions. It's crazy not to have gun restrictions. Why would anyone not be for it? I don't want to get into that. That's neither here nor there. But LeBron retweeted that a few days ago. So that's something he's interested in, obviously. Somebody finds interesting, obviously. Well, a couple months ago, Jerry Jones, the picture of him in the background, segregation way back when in Arkansas, and LeBron got right up there in front of the media and chastised the media. Why hasn't anyone asked me about Jerry Jones in the picture with the segregation? And was all kinds of angry about it. Why haven't you asked me about this? Which there'd be no reason to ask LeBron about it because it's a different sport. It's a guy who was in a different sport. It's this idea that anytime someone's involved in that type of situation, someone involves race, no matter what sport they're in, apparently we have to ask LeBron. So LeBron was really angry about that, right? Chastising the media for not asking him. Somebody's got to ask him about John the gun, right? I mean, LeBron's not going to be talking to the media anytime soon because he is injured, so he's not going to be available to the media. But if gun control is something that LeBron is interested in, and clearly he is because he retweeted that video with Jon Stewart a few days ago, somebody needs to ask LeBron about John Morant flashing guns if we're interested in gun control, right? So somebody needs to ask LeBron, or LeBron's going to chastise the media for not asking him, right? Somebody needs to ask LeBron about it. Come on. Who's going to step up? So we'll see. I don't expect it. But if you don't ask him about it, LeBron's going to chastise you. I'd like to know what he has to say about John Morant just flashing guns. It's an important issue to LeBron. He let you know this is should be an important issue for everyone, but he let you know this is an important issue. Somebody needs to ask LeBron about it. Someone's got to ask him about it. So over the weekend, everybody settle down. Let's take a second here. So over the weekend, of course, I told you guys, newest sponsor to the show. Everybody welcoming aboard Broward Meat and Fish. They had their grand opening this weekend in Margate. That's right. I'm telling you, I've never seen, I was there on Saturday. I was there with Johnny Cuba. We gave away a couple pairs of Heat tickets. Johnny Cuba was giving away their picante sauce with the finest Jamaican peppers. Those were flying off the stand there. They had their tent. Everyone was picking up some of that hot sauce. I love it. I'm telling you. Well, one of the places you can pick it up, of course, along with a six-pack of Johnny Cuba, Broward Meat and Fish. And they had the grand opening this weekend in Margate. I was over there. I've never seen, it's a full supermarket. We'll get to that in a second. I've never seen a better selection of meat and fish than at Broward Meat and Fish. Newest location this weekend was the grand opening in Margate. If you love good food, you're in for a treat. We all want the best quality when we're prepping for our next meal, you know? Broward Meat and Fish, that's your one-stop shop for all the fresh meat, fresh seafood, produce, complete selection of groceries, frozen foods, freshly prepared hot food, deli meats. They'll make you boar's head sub, cheeses, wine, so much more. I'm telling you, this weekend at Broward Meat and Fish, it was a madhouse, by the way. It was packed. You had to wait for someone leaving to go get a cart. I did a full shop. I'm telling you, the selection there, meat and fish, you've never seen anything like it. You got the butchers and the fishmongers there, full-service meat and seafood counters. They're preparing your selection exactly the way that you want it. And another thing that I love about Broward Meat and Fish, they have specialized in serving They have specialized in serving the Caribbean and Latin community here in South Florida for over 30 years. They have all the products that remind all of us where we come from. The shelves are stocked with international brands from Jamaica and Haiti and Mexico and Brazil and Colombia and Argentina and Peru. You're getting the flavor you love at Broward Meat and Fish. Go to browardmeatandfish.com. You'll find the location nearest you and, of course, the newest location in Margate.